Hey, what's up guys, Ruff here. So another day and another round of free content courtesy of the socialist LARPer Hasan Piker. Now in that regard, I would argue that Hasan's greatest contribution is consistently providing free content for content creators like myself and many others. He is redistributing the wealth, but not in the ways he really intended. Now recently Hasan has been facing a lot of criticism for his status as a ultra-wealthy, nepo baby, champagne socialist. This is courtesy of his trip to Cuba, where he stayed in 5-star hotels. Meanwhile, 99+% of the local population was without power. But this propaganda-fueled vacation for Hasan has generated a lot of criticism. A lot of people are looking at his expensive outfits he wore and his behavior over there, and they're saying, you are once again the pillar of what it looks like to be a champagne socialist. But Hasan went on to Twitch recently, explained away the many criticisms, and his response is addressing the key points, including the fact that he sipped out of a small cup.
But we got to replay that last part.
Experiencing that dichotomy is like definitely me up. Definitely.
You couldn't have done that better if you scripted it. I bet he has a Grey Poupon suppository.
Like, I don't understand. I'm literally not even in the hotel here, for the record. I'm at a friend's house, okay? This was a local's home that I'm in, okay? And not only that, but like, yeah, Ryan Grimm made me a fucking coffee. Are they saying it's because I'm drinking coffee like a gay guy? Like, what the fuck is this?
By the way, his glasses cost $1,400.
Yeah, broke boy. What's up? Yeah, I got swag, bitch. What are you going to do about it? Suck my...
So as you can see, the whole hotel situation in Cuba is evolving into a Collargate 2.0 type situation. The reason for that is, initially when Hasan showed up in Cuba, he stayed in a 5-star hotel. And a lot of people pointed out the dichotomy of this guy who's there supposedly for humanitarian relief, staying in a 5-star hotel surrounded by people who are struggling to basically feed themselves on a daily basis. Now, Hasan was initially criticized for this, and his response was that, yeah, I stayed in a 5-star hotel, but it's the Americans who decide whether or not it's a 5-star hotel, and also he was trying to say that that was the only hotel he could stay in. He also said that it was not owned in any sort of a way by the Cuban government. All of these things were outed as lies. He's just bold-faced lying over and over again. And unfortunately for Hasan, he's now moved into a new route where he's saying he was served this coffee, this espresso, at a friend's house. So now he's trying to add another layer in here. It's just like the Collargate situation, where initially there was no collar, then it wasn't a shock collar, then it was a vibrating collar, then there was prongs, then there was no prongs, then it was Zionist propaganda fueling this whole thing, then it was people like his haters and the slop tubers who were spreading lies about him. You get the point. But Hasan makes many claims, and he claims that people think he looks like a gay guy for sipping out of this cup. No, I think the reason people are making fun of this screenshot in particular is because not only is it just very, very funny to see this guy sipping on coffee casually in a 5-star hotel, but also he looks like some sort of low-budget Bond villain in a screenshot like this. It just looks silly. And I know these sorts of small espresso cups are common in Cuba, but it's just funny to see him doing this. I mean, his head is already comedically small, so you have to really appreciate that this espresso cup has to be the size of a dime. Like, it has to be absolutely minuscule. But he also brings up, like I said, the fact that he thinks everyone is accusing him of being gay for sipping out of this cup. And this is something he does all the time. He brings up sexuality randomly. He continuously attacks people like Ethan Klein, Asmongold, slop tubers, and alike. Basically any critic of his, saying they have a psychosexual obsession with him, which is just pure projection at this point. It's a very weird thing to constantly bring up. But of course, Hasan would also address another situation where he is being criticized for the clothing that he wore during his trip, including a pair of glasses that cost about $1,400 in the United States, which would be many times the average annual salary of a Cuban. On top of that, he had expensive shirts like this that cost $690 alone. Now, some people were criticizing him on Reddit, but those posts were taken down within 4 minutes, which I guess is a new record for the mods over there who are trying everything in their power to protect this man. But Hasan would explain away all of this stuff while also comparing himself and trying to make himself look better than other rich streamers like Asmongold and Moist Critical.
The symbolism that you place on the articles of clothing that I wear is in your mind, okay? That's it. Because at the end of the day, the level of financial success that I've attained would not change whether I wear tattered clothes or expensive articles of clothing. And this is before we even realize that, you know, when you are an influencer or when you have a big platform, people just like send you shit. Okay? This is not a serious or sincere argument. You are demanding that I guess, LARP. If this was the case, Asmongold would be the true communist from your perspective, regardless of the reactionary garbage that he puts out on a daily basis. Do you find yourself in agreement with that? Do you think Asmongold, who wears the same tattered t-shirt over and over again, is actually a communist? Both Asmongold and Moist Critical are far wealthier than I am, and yet they wear regular articles of clothing. I mean, I do as well, but, you know, I do have expensive articles of clothing. He's not lumping. He's not a lumpen prole. No, you're wrong. He's not a prole at all. He owns multiple businesses. This is what I mean. This is pure aesthetic markers that you are identifying and hyper-focusing on. It's pure liberalism. Whenever I talk about it, even though I had this exact same perspective when I didn't have any expensive clothes whatsoever or didn't have any money whatsoever.
Absolutely broken by Asmongold. The Asmongold derangement syndrome is plaguing Hasan. Even when he's in Cuba and even when he comes back, all he can think of is Asmongold. And in this case, a lot of people were not buying his explanation of his clothing. You can see some of the responses to a post sharing that clip saying, if I was a socialist, I would take that clothing that gets sent for free and I would sell it forward and give the money back to poor people. Guys, stop. We went over this. He grew up poor. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Hasan Piker tried to explain to the public that he grew up poor, that he was a rags to riches story. Meanwhile, this is what he looked like as a child, participating in equestrian-related events. Definitely the poor routes for him. Here's another one saying, there isn't a greater spectator sport in America than hypocrisy. The left is always the greatest entertainment. Hasan Piker visiting Cuba. Yep, looks about right. But guys, he had no choice. He was given this clothing. He simply had to wear it while he was walking through Cuba. Here's another one saying, Hasan is completely ignoring the fact that he chose to wear thousands of dollars of accessories on a trip to a poverty-stricken Cuba. Nobody forced him. He packed his own clothes. He packed his own suitcase. It was all premeditated. Hasan advertised his plan to go to Cuba a month in advance. He had more than enough time to acquire appropriate attire. He intentionally took expensive clothes, glasses, and jewelry because he needs to flex his wealth, as all narcissists who benefit from capitalism do. Yes, it couldn't be any more on point here. He intentionally made these efforts. He brought this stuff, and he consistently wants to flex on people with his wealth, okay? He's a guy who says he has no choice but to live in this capitalist system. He has no choice but to live in a $3 million LA mansion. He has no choice but to drive around a $250,000 sports car. He has no choice, ladies and gentlemen. All he can do is sit there and benefit from capitalism, the system that he openly and routinely craps all over and acts like is the most evil thing in the world. Meanwhile, he is the quintessential example of someone benefiting from that system he supposedly hates so much. Now, of course, all of the Hasan defenders were out in full force responding to related posts saying, if you aren't a socialist, or you aren't a socialist unless you dress like this. Yes, I think there was a big difference between walking around in a barrel versus walking around in an outfit that is worth thousands of dollars. Okay, you are not required to show up in Cuba wearing the most expensive clothes you can find. I mean, this guy is literally the meme. He is a communist with a Gucci bag. Nobody forces him to buy all these luxuries. He does it simply because he wants to. And he is not detached from this sort of logic. He is always talking about socialism and defending people wearing expensive outfits, like the wife of the New York City mayor that he simps for, who wore $630 boots to the swearing-in ceremony. These are people who are socialists, and Hasan defends them by saying, socialism means no drip. In fact, he even responded to posts about his Cuba trip saying, they let me do it because they respected my expensive drip, reacting to posts talking about his interactions with the Cuban government. So he is not hiding this whatsoever. He is going and making it very clear that he just wants to embrace the criticism. Okay, he's not even hiding from it anymore. It's just like with the Collargate stuff. And, you know, speaking of Asmongold, here he is again. Recently, Hasan posting Asmon grifts and putting a shock collar on him with the Israeli flag, which once again, as I pointed out, very ironic to imply that Asmongold is controlled by the state of Israel. Meanwhile, Hasan also calls him a Nazi. That doesn't really seem to line up very well, but then again, this is Hasan we're talking about, and Hasan would come out with further explanation about his humanitarian efforts behind the scenes, and apparently this represents 99+% of what he does.
It's strange that, I mean, it makes sense that this propaganda works on the fucking hogs too. Like, I get it when people are like, but what about the optics? It's like, the fuck do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm literally in Cuba, you know? I'm in Cuba. It's unbelievable. You should have went shirtless. True. It's just, all of it literally reduces to, if you are in any way, shape, or form, like, better off
also,
than the
they
average.
embrace so dirty in that.
Yeah.
That's so fucking funny. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's really, it's like, oh wow, look at this rich fucking, look at this asshole, this guy's piece of shit. And then look at the guy next to him who doesn't matter. He's actually, that shirt he's wearing is for pores. The jeans too. That little hat.
It's crazy how all the criticism about having money and using it all stem from communities of other wealthy people who don't do nearly as much activism as you. FD Signifier himself said that none of us are ever going to know about 99% of the instances of putting your money where your mouth is, nor should we. Yeah, you will never know. Well, hopefully you will never know.
Ah, yes. 99% of the stuff Hasan does is behind the scenes, and you'll never know about it. This meme could not explain Hasan Piker's logic here anymore. You will never know what he does behind the scenes because, well, he's not doing it, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to be in the psyche, in the mind of Hasan to understand at this point, if he does anything that'll make him look good, you're going to know about it. He is going to post about it publicly. He's going to stream about it. He is going to make sure you know. Just like with his political contacts, he has said before that he is in contact with very powerful political people. You just don't know about it, right? Well, of course, anytime he has a collaboration with anyone who's in the realm of politics, he lets everyone know about it. He even publicly begs politicians to go onto his stream, even if he gets humiliated by their, well, rejection of his requests. But he will let you know when something good is happening. So when he says he's doing all of this charitable and good stuff behind the scenes and 99% of it you just don't know, he is lying through his teeth. That is not a very bold claim to make in response to him, and nobody's buying it. Here's some responses from the related clip saying, in quotes, you think the price of this button-up shirt is the reason why Cubans are suffering, end quote. According to his own belief, it is. Hasan participating in capitalism he claims is so vile and purchased in the US, who he claims is oppressing Cuba. In fact, Hasan has recently come out and said he doesn't support the United States as a whole and even considers the United States to be a terrorist organization. But he'll gladly buy products and pay his taxes to fund that same, in his words, regime. But anyways, here's another response saying, Hasan is internally inconsistent. His explanations don't make sense. When he thinks he has a better argument, it takes over, and then he tries to go back to what he was saying. Also notice these people always talk about dehumanizing language. Why does he say the hogs? It's just like how he describes his critics as cattle, okay? It is dehumanizing language. He's using it on purpose. That is not a secret to anyone, okay? The playbook here is open and obvious. Everyone knows what he's doing, but he's on the right side of history, so he can dehumanize people. He can call them animals, what have you, because, you know, he's got right think. Now, of course, if you dare to say anything with wrong think in a similar fashion, you are a bigot, you're dehumanizing people, you're awful, what have you. But here's another reply saying, Hasan was forced to wear a $700 shirt and a $1,000 pair of glasses in a poverty-stricken nation. Hasan was forced to stay in a 5-star hotel while 11 million Cubans suffered blackouts. Hasan has no free will. He is a puck in all things. A true socialist, rules for thee but not for me. The most obvious political grifter in the world, which is a very funny thing, right? It's very funny to hear the term grifter used for so many people on the internet, including myself. You know, anytime I speak, it must be the product of grifting. And for those who don't know, grift means that you are saying things that don't represent your actual beliefs internally, and you're only spreading these public beliefs that don't represent you internally for the purpose of making money. And nope, turns out people like me just believe what we believe, and people don't like it, so they call it a grift, because they can't wrap their minds around someone like myself believing the things that I do. But Hasan truly has exemplified being a grifter. He calls himself a socialist, and yet he's ultra wealthy, and he spends all of his money on luxury. And his trip to Cuba was a total embracement of any bit of luxury he could bring over there and that he could experience over there. That is much more akin to a grift than anything he accuses slop tubers or critics of on a daily basis. This is the guy that has swindled so many people. This guy who says he does all of his work behind the scenes. The guy who says that people only hate on him because of the way he sips his coffee. And that he's actually doing better than people like Asmongold and Moist Critical. And that he's actually a very humble guy. And that he can't help but wear all these things that are given to him. It's just excuse after lie after excuse after lie. Anybody still falling for this stuff, I feel sorry for. I genuinely do. I mean, how do you not feel sorry for someone who's allowed this make the rich pay clown convince them that this guy is a true embodiment of what he preaches about? He is the exact opposite. He is an actual grifter, and he is being exposed, and he's getting caught lying in his explanations, especially regarding Cuba, and his sycophants and his fans, they don't care. But I'm glad some people wake up. For every 100 that don't, maybe there's one that wake up to the reality of who Hasan Piker is and what he stands for and what he doesn't stand for. So that's at least a benefit, okay? That's at least something good happening. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.